let's move to the next passage. So the first passage, when we were talking about something related to the extinct species, the tooth fracture. The second passage is about sociology. And as I was mentioning in my earlier videos also, that you will get topics on diverse genre. So the passage 2 is about sociology. What they are saying is, in contrast to the traditional analysis of minority business. So they are talking here about minority business. They are analyzing here about the minority business. What it is? Let's see. I don't know. The sociological analysis contents. They are talking about the sociological analysis of a minority business. So that's what they are talking about. They are talking about a sociological analysis, and that too of a minority business. Okay, that's what the context with which the author is starting the passage. It contends that minority business ownership is a group level phenomena. It's a group level phenomena rather than a public phenomena, or rather than it's, you know, a big phenomena which is there with other companies or the private companies, right? So it's a group level phenomenon in that it is largely dependent upon the social group resources for its development. So they largely dependent on the social groups. So whatever social groups they have knitted together, they are dependent on that. What are dependent? The minority businesses. Specifically, this analysis, whatever analysis they are talking about, indicates that support networks plays a critical role in starting and maintaining the minority business enterprises by providing owners with a range of assistance. So they are talking about the support network, and they provide help, a varied range of help. What are that? The range can be from the informal encouragement of a family members. जाओ business start करो, हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं. And friends, to dependable sources of labor and clientele from the owner ethnic group. So owner, if let's say I am an owner in my ethnic group, my friends and family will motivate me to start the business, encourage me to start one. Then there are friends who can, or other family members who can provide the labor also, and for that the initial clientele wherein I can go and sell my services or products too. Such self-help network which encourage and support the ethnic minority entrepreneurs consists of primary institutions, those closest to the individual in shaping his or her behavior and beliefs. So they are basically the primary institutions near to that ethnic group. So for example, if let's say I belong to a certain community, there will be community members, there will be community circles, there will be community panchayats, there will be community groups to whom the author is referring to as primary institutions. Okay, they are characterized by the face-to-face association and the cooperation of the persons united by the ties of mutual concern. So the concern here is mutual. They form an intermediate social level between the individual and larger secondary institutions. So what they are saying is, so there is a person who is associated with the primary institution. So these primary institutions are basically the base to help them or to contact them with the secondary institutions based on their relationship. Primary institutions comprising the support network include what they can support is kinship, peer, neighborhood or community, as I was talking about. So paragraph 1, let's talk about paragraph 1. They are talking about minority business, how society plays a role in particular establishment of minority business. Let's go to paragraph 2. A major function of self-help network is financial support. Here we go. पैसा नहीं तो कुछ नहीं. All these things are okay. हमें चाहिए मूला. Okay. So the सबसे बड़ा function of self-help network is financial support. Most scholars agree that minority business owners have depended primarily on the family funds. Primarily on the family funds and ethnic community resources for investment capital. Either I will ask money from my dad or from the society groups. Personal savings, we don't have. Personal savings have been accumulated often through frugal living habits. Frugal का मतलब कंजूसी से जी के हम personal saving जो करते हैं, that is also one of the role in starting the minority business. That require sacrifices not only by me, by individual, but by family members. sacrifices by the entire family, and are thus a product of long-term family financial behavior. So they are talking about, first of all, the society, how society will play the important role, or the primary institutions, and then they are talking about how family of that individual is supporting that. So it's all, they're talking about a sociological phenomena which plays around starting a minority business. Okay, additional loans and gifts from relatives. So then there are relatives, mama, masi, chacha, chachi, uncle, auntie, loans and gifts from relatives forthcoming because of group obligation. That's a group obligation. Society in which we live in. Mama ne paise nahi diye, masi ne paise nahi diye. They are rich individuals. They should have supported him. All these things come into picture. I'm sure you can relate it. Okay. So because of the group obligation rather than narrow investment calculation. So these mama, masi, chachis, uncle, auntie or relatives, narrow investment calculation, they are not talking कि मेरा investment के अंदर कितना return आएगा. It's the group obligation I'm talking about. Have supplemented the personal savings. So they kind of supplement the personal savings. Individual entrepreneurs do not necessarily rely on their kin because they cannot obtain financial backing from commercial resources. They may actually avoid banks. They avoid banks because they assume that commercial institution either cannot comprehend the special needs of minority enterprise or charge unreasonably high interest prices. Now the last line is very, very important. Why they don't go to banks or the lending institutions? Because of two reasons. Probably I am asking for some of the conditions which is not there in the rule book of banks. They can't have that exception of that rule book, because if they will have an exception, you will have many fugitives like the sum which we see these days in the newspaper, right? So or they charge unreasonably high rate. Okay, within the large ethnic community, rotating credit associations have been used. So there are credit associations जो rotate कर करके पैसा देते हैं. These associations are informal clubs of friends, other trusted members of the ethnic group who are regular contributors to a fund that is given to each contributor in rotation. Kitty parties, the kitties जिसमें आप पैसा डालते हो, आपने सुना होगा kitty parties. वो ठीक है, अभी एक फैशन हो गया है kitty parties कि हम रेस्टोरेंट पे जाके खाना खाते हैं, पार्टीज करते हैं. Idly kitty parties are the example of this. Okay. One author estimates that 40% of New York Chinatown firms, 40% न्यू यॉर्क के अंदर जो चाइना टाउन, चाइना की फर्म्स हैं, established during 1900 to 1950, utilized such association as their initial source of capital. So majority of them are using this as an initial source of capital. However, recent immigrants and third or fourth generation of older groups now employ rotating credit association only occasionally to raise investment funds. So this was the case earlier in 1900 to 1950, but at this point of time, they are kind of not much active. Some groups like Black Americans found other means of financial support. Now they have other means also. The first Black operated bank were created in the late 19th century as depositories collected from fraternal or lodge groups, which themselves had sprung from Black churches. Black banks made limited investment in other Black enterprises. So now what they are talking about is, पहले उन्होंने चाइना का example दिया, now they are giving the example of Black banks also. It is not necessarily that Black banks जो कि Black लोगों से ही originate हुए थे, उनके ही services के लिए originate हुए थे, they don't invest in only the Black firms. They made limited investment in Black enterprises. Irish immigrants in American cities organized many building and loan associations to provide for home construction and purchase. They in turn provided work for many Irish home building contract firms. Other ethnic and minority groups followed similar practices in founding ethnic directed financial institutions. So they are talking about these ethnic financial institutions. The only exception in between they talked about, slowly and gradually they are now kind of getting reduced, but that's what the major idea is all about. I hope you have understood the passage. Let's move to question number 1. And your question is, based on the information in the passage, it would be least likely for which of the following person need to be a part of a self-help network. Least likely, किसके पास नहीं जाएगा self-help network के लिए? Entrepreneur childhood friend, it comes in a social circle. The entrepreneur aunt, yes, I have talked about it, will come as a social circle. They talked about entrepreneur's religious leader, again a social circle. The entrepreneur neighbor, again a social circle. The entrepreneur banker, because very specifically they talked about they may actually avoid banks because they assume that commercial institutes, they cannot either compare the special needs of the member. So that's why very easy one here, a fact-based question. Yes, you don't have to go to the passage for this because ये context समझ में आ जाना चाहिए था. This context समझ में आ जाना चाहिए था because छोटा सा passage है. इसको आप जब passage पे अगर जाएंगे तो you are wasting your time, which means you have not read properly in the first place. So the answer is option number E for this. Let's move to the next question. The next is, which of the following illustrate the working of a self-help support network as such network are described in the passage? जो self-help support network की बात passage में की गई है, which of the following illustrate the working of that? Let's understand. Okay, here we go. A public high school offer courses in bookkeeping and accounting as a part of its open enrollment adult education program. Not directly related to the business. Not directly related to the business because they are talking about working of a self-help support network for business. Second, the local government in a small city sets up a program that helps teenagers find summer jobs. Okay, let's see. A major commercial bank offer low interest rate loans to experienced individual who hope to establish their own business. So commercial bank में तो ये जाएंगे नहीं. Commercial bank पे तो ये जाएंगे नहीं. Which of the following illustrates the working of a self-help support network? Business पे तो जाएंगे नहीं, I mean banks पे तो जाएंगे नहीं, और ये job की बात कर नहीं रहा. So ये दोनों option eliminated. Let's go to C. मैं एक बार वापस से मार्क कर देता हूं यहाँ को. ठीक है. A neighborhood-based fraternal organization develops a program of on-the-job training for its members and their friends. Okay, a community college of a country residents training program that can lead to the certification in a variety of technical trades. Again, my option has to be either D or B. My option has to be either D or B. So what can be my answer between D and A? Right? Let's understand. So this is where the elimination technique will help me to picture. So my A eliminated because business की बात नहीं हो रखी है. C banks में जाऊंगा नहीं. Again यहाँ पर business की बात नहीं हो रखी है. Let's talk about B and D. B. The local government in a small city sets up a program that helps teenagers find summer jobs. Now here we are talking about business. Here we are talking about business. And here we are talking about jobs. My B option eliminated. And D, a neighborhood-based fraternal organization develops a program of on-the-job training for its members and their friends. They are talking about a training program for on-the-job so that for its members, specifically they are talking about for the members and their friends, not the outside community. और यहाँ पर अगर आप देखोगे, it sets up a program. एक तो jobs का था, दूसरा it sets up a program that helps teenagers. Teenagers से क्या करूँ? It has to be in my social circle. It has to be in my social circle. So this is where it's there in my social circle because I'm talking only about my members and my friends, and that's why D option is the right answer. Is it clear, everyone? I hope it is. And if you have any problem, do get in touch to connect with me at any given point of time. Let's move to the next question. The next is, which of the following can be inferred about the rotating credit association, the kitty parties we talked about? Let's see. They were developed exclusively by Chinese immigrants. What they said, where it is mentioned, let's see. They talked about, here we go. One author estimates that 40% of these firms established during this utilized such association. They utilized, whether they developed I don't know, alien option. Whether they developed, I don't know, alien option. So the word developed, not exclusively I would say, the word developed is making my option alien. Option number 2, they accounted for a significant portion of investment capital used by Chinese immigrants in New York in the earlier 20th century. Okay, let's see. Okay, fine, earlier 20th century. Next is, they accounted for a significant portion of 40% by Chinese immigrants, by Chinatown firms in New York, Okay, that can be my answer. That can be my answer. Let's see the other options as well. Third generation members of an immigrant group who started businesses in the 1920s would have been unlikely to rely on them. Alien option, alien option, alien option. Right? Let's go, and that too, we are talking about a third generation member of an immigrant. With this line, you are making this option broad as well. You are making this option broad as well. You can't say the same thing about all the communities. How you can say about all the communities or all the immigrant groups? They are talking about only 2 here. So that's why this is again a broad here. D option. There were frequently joint endeavors by member of 2 or 3 different ethnic groups. No. Alien option, out of context. Alien option, out of context. E. Recent immigrants still frequently turn to rotating credit association. Recent immigrants. Have they talked about recent immigrants? No. Have they talked about recent immigrants? No sir, not at all. हम फंस गए इसके अंदर. Recent immigrants मतलब ये again alien option है. So मैंने जो mark किए words उनको note कर लो. Developed, alien, third generation members too broad. They unlikely to rely on them. Again an alien. They're member of 2 or 3 different ethnic groups. Alien option. And at last is recent immigrants. So this is where you need to eliminate the options, guys. And with this, let's move to the next. The next question is, the passage support which of the following statements, and your options are. So आपका passage क्या support कर रहा है उसके ऊपर जाते हैं. A minority entrepreneur who had no assistance from family members would not be able to start a business. Now, guys, understand this won't be the answer. That's my alien option. Sir, why? Let's understand why. And majority of the students, they tend to mark this particular option. यहाँ पर ये दिया हुआ है that family members are that part of the social group which helps the minority business to start. But that doesn't mean if they doesn't support, they won't be able to start the business. It is not given there. Right? They have just mentioned here that family is a part of it. Somewhere here they talked about the encouragement of the family member. But when there is no encouragement, they won't be able to start the option business. That's not the context. I don't know. Let's go to option number 2. Self-help networks have been effective in helping entrepreneurs primarily in the last 50 years. I don't know. That's why my option is narrow. My options is narrow here. They are talking about only once they have mentioned the year. They talked about the Chinese firms 1900 to 1950. But in rest of the passage, right from here till here, they are not even talking about those years, and that is why it's making my option too narrow. Broad, alien, narrow, extreme. First one is alien, second one is narrow. Third option. Minority groups have developed a range of alternatives to standard financing of business ventures. Yes, that can be my answer, because when we are talking about the ranging of alternative, you have friends, you have family members, you have primary institutions, we have community groups, and they again are basically getting into the secondary institutions. So this can be one of my answer. Let's star mark kar lete hain. Let's go to option number D. The financial institutions founded by various ethnic groups owe their success to their unique formal organization. Nowhere we are talking about whether they are successful or not. We don't know whether they are successful or not, and that's where it is an alien option. And if I move to option number E, successful minority owned businesses succeed primarily because of the personal strength. We are not even talking about personal strength, and that's why this is also a lenient option. So option number 3, which is C, is my right answer. I hope you have got it correctly, that how we are eliminating the options. If not, just write in the comment section below. I'll be ready to help you guys, right? Okay, moving to the next. Which of the following describes the organization of the passage? We are talking about organization of what? Organization of passage. ये passage जो है किस तरीके से ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया है उस पे हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि पैसेज के अंदर क्या क्या चीजें लिखी गई हैं. An argument is delineated followed by a counter argument. There is nothing called as a counter argument. There is nothing called as, in the sense, there is no counter argument here. No one is countering the argument that no, it is not the ethnic societies, it is about something else. No one have mentioned it there. So my counter argument thing is eliminated. Let's go to option number 2. An assertion is made and several examples are provided to illustrate it. Assertion matlab a fact. A fact is made. The fact is made and there are several examples which they are showing are provided to illustrate it. That can be my answer. Let's go to option number C. Option number C is talking about a situation is described and its historical background is then outlined. So वो बोल रहे हैं एक situation दी गई है, a situation is described and its historical background. This is not historical background because they are talking about in contrast to the traditional analysis. In contrast to that, so it is exactly opposite. C is eliminated. An example of a phenomena is given and then used as a basis for general conclusion. कई students यहाँ पर इसको लेके confuse हो जाते हैं. This is not an example of a phenomena. This is a phenomena. They are talking about an example of a phenomena. But where it is written, it is a phenomena. So that's why option D eliminated. Option E, a group of parallel incidents is described and the distinctions among the incidents are clarified. So distinctions among the incidents are then clarified. First of all, there are no parallel incidents and no distinction is been clarified. No one is clarifying that. My option E eliminated, and that's why my dear students will go with option number 2 as an answer. So as I said, eliminate the other 4. Eliminate the other 4 here and then you will definitely mark the answer. You should be very sure of why other options can't be the answer. Should be very sure of why other options can't be the answer, and if you are very sure of that, the remaining one is definitely which you can go and check it out as well. Let's move to the next question. Let's move to our next question. Here we go. According to the passage, once a minority owned business is established, मान लो established हो गया, self-help network contribute with which of the following to that business? जो self-help networks है, how will they contribute once a minority owned business is settled? Option number A, information regarding possible expansion of the business into nearby communities. Okay, so they are talking about the information of regarding possible expansion of the business into the nearby communities. यहाँ पर क्या दे रखा है? They help with the clientele. Where it is here. They help with the clientele from the owner ethnic group. Owner ethnic group से ही clientele दे रहे हैं. यहाँ पर nearby communities दिया हुआ है. ठीक है? यहाँ दिया हुआ है information regarding possible expansion और यहाँ पर दिया हुआ है getting the clientele, and that's why I will not mark option number A. Option number 2, encouragement of a business climate that is nearly free of direct competition. I hope you are now getting it. Just full stop there, that they are encouragement of a business climate. तब भी शायद I would have considered it. Free of direct competition, I don't know, nowhere given. Let's go to option number C. C option क्या बोल रहा है? Opportunities for the business owners to reinvest profits in other minority owned businesses. No, they have directly mentioned here that it's not about the investment. They directly mentioned here, it's not about the investment, it's about the obligation which is arising out of it. It's not about the investment, it's about the obligation. And you can get it somewhere here. Somewhere here it is given that it's not about the investment, it is a obligation. D, contact with people who are likely to be customers of the new business. Here we go, the clientele thing. Here we go, the clientele thing, right? So contact with people who are likely to be customer, the clientele of this new business. This can be my answer. E, contact with minority entrepreneurs who are member of other ethnic groups. Not at all. Other ethnic groups आते ही मेरे पैसेज का मेन आइडिया खत्म हो जाएगा. So यहाँ पर other ethnic groups खत्म, यहाँ पर nearby communities खत्म. My A and my E eliminated. B I am eliminating because of free from direct competition, and C I am eliminating because they don't want to invest in other things. It is about the obligation, and hence D option is the right answer. So guys, this is all from my side today. We have solved two passages. First we talked about that extinct species one, and then the second we talked about the sociology, and I'm sure you got that idea that if you are able to eliminate the four options, definitely you will be able to get the remaining option, and you can then justify and you can go on and search out and see why that other option is an answer, right? And you should understand the logic rather than getting into that mera question sahi ho gaya. Logic pe dhyan do, that it should not be a fluke, because if you understand the logic, slowly and gradually, as I always say, it's a process, slowly and gradually I'm sure that you will start getting an idea of how to eliminate the option, and you will get a hang on it. And with this, I'm signing off today for this particular video, and we'll be back again with the next video on reading comprehension. Thank you.